Oh, there we go. Oh my goodness. That's interesting. Tell me if you can hear me now. Yeah, I was muted. I never pressed the mute button. Okay. All right. You got me now? Got me now? Testing. All right. All good. Mazzy says yes. Did you guys Mazzy, did you wrap it up over there? So anyway, we'll be getting Rachel up here in a little bit. We'll get Rachel. So it's been a while since I did an interview, but had a lot of people asking me, and I really enjoyed doing the interviews before. So I needed to get back to it, and there's no better guest to get back to the interview format than having Rachel from Rachel's Ghost here. So we'll just wait till she pops in, and let's see. I sent her a link, so she should be here momentarily. Sue, where's Rachel? Raji's here. Rochelle's here from Ireland. I think it's, what is it, 6 o'clock in the evening over in Downpatrick today. I think they went to Mass this morning at St. Patrick's Cathedral with my folks. So, hey, Revs, how you doing, man? Beetle Babe is here. Cool. She will be here in a minute. Poo break. Right on. Hey, Harry, how you doing, man? Wolfie's here. How you doing, man? Glad you're all here. So I think there's probably going to be, oh my goodness, there's 34 people here. I want to think you're here for me, but I think you're here for Rachel. But that's great. Rachel's a dear friend of mine, and I'm so happy to have her come on the show today, and we can talk about things, get into the nitty gritty, maybe. There's been some expectation that I hold her feet to the fire. So I don't know if we'll do that, but we'll see what we can come up with. Maybe we can have some laughs and have some tears and just kick back and enjoy each other's company and have you guys here to hang around the table with us. So, hey, there's Jack. How you doing, Jack? Oh my goodness, my dad's here. Oh, this is Kai, my nephew, is on my dad's account. That's cool. Jens, how you doing? Herc is here. All right. So last night I went with a friend up to Portland to watch some live music. Haven't seen some live music in a while. And hey, Anthony. And so we went to there's a couple of brothers called the McMiniman Brothers, and they have several locations in Oregon where they like buy old factories and schools. They have this school called the Kennedy School, this old high school in Portland, and they turned it into a brew pub and a theater and a hotel. And they have really cool art installations and anyway, so we went to this place, this pub called the White Eagle Tavern or Saloon or whatever, kind of close to the Rose Garden where the Trailblazers play. And we watched my friend's nephew's band called The Dark Show play their set. And that was really good. And got to meet my friend's family and yeah, it was really enjoyable. So I was out doing that last night because I'm by myself here in the house without my wife and my daughters. So anyway, come on, Rachel. How long can I talk by myself here? I'm going to try to not wear my glasses today so that you can see the emotions in my eyes as I sincerely ask Rachel questions. So we'll see. But if I have to start having trouble reading, I'm going to have to put my glasses on. So we'll see. Oh, let's see. Let me pop some so crackling in the background. Hey, there she is. All right, here we go. Hey.
Okay, I'm in costume. I got the hat. I'm like, on me, I'm reversed on StreamYard, but on you, I'm not reversed, right? Everything looks kind of copacetic.
Your mic is like this, like coming in and out a little bit. There
Hang on. How's that?
That's good.
All right. We're in showbiz now. I got the boom microphone, Mr. Boom microphone with Norman Manslow.
Yeah, that's great. I saw that this morning.
All
when
right.
you
What's going
dialed
on
up.
there, producer? I'm happy to be. I'm laid back. I'm relaxed.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You sound the audio is good quality.
All
So,
right.
so yeah, I was just saying it's been a little while since I did an interview, and it's great to have you as my first guest back into the format a little bit.
Happy to be
And
here.
yeah, I appreciate your willingness to hang out with me around the table and see what we can
Yeah,
come
this is
up
my
with.
first time at the table.
Yeah, right.
No, no, my producer's asking if I'm nervous. I'm here to
I'm
tell her I'm not.
I'm nervous.
Are you? Why would you
No,
be nervous?
I'm not really nervous. I just want to have a good,
To create
good
some
talk.
drama, some tension for the audience.
Yeah, right.
Bring them in.
Yeah, let's have some controversy.
I
Maybe
kinda
we
like
can.
the reverse image here. For what I'm seeing, it looks good.
Oh, really? No, you're squared away straight. You're not reversed for me, so it's all good.
Yeah, man.
Now you
I
use.
take it. First of all, I want to say it's a privilege to be here. And I'm a big fan of yours. I like you as a person. And I love you so much, Marty. Now I'm starting to see you in other films or social media. I go, that guy reminds me of Marty. I say, is that guy just like Marty? Like we're seeing him a lot. We talked about the Brian film.
Yeah.
Apparently, Brian, I talked to Brian, Tokyo Brian, and he was saying that the documentary that was done, there's an exciting documentary and coming to theaters soon about me. And so it's so interesting. Apparently, Brian said he has some negative things. He was intimating Sue has some negative things to say about the documentary. So I'm absolutely intrigued. I don't know. I haven't seen his breakdown of the thing. I know he's in the documentary himself, probably steals the show in his own way. But anyway, that's something I want to watch. But, check that documentary out from Greg. Anyway, it's a thrill to be here. It's a thrill. I'm happy, but I'm seeing it everywhere, just like I say.
All right. Well, maybe that's good.
Old joy.
Old joy. It was really nice of Mark Anthony Kay to give me a shout out on the project.
Isn't that nice? Yeah. Mark is a good guy. I'm buying your album. You're not gifting me a copy.
I appreciate
I'm buying the freaking thing.
That's
you're
good.
putting your own coin into it. But all I ask is you put your little pen thing. Dear Rachel, you're wrong about Trump, but I love you anyway. Something like that. Something sweet, something lovely.
I think, you know what, I think I'm going to get them not shrink wrapped so that I can number, because I'm going to get 100 press, so I can number them and then sign them and personalize them if people want that. And then I'll put them in like a Japanese resealable thing. So I can, so I can, but I'd like to be able to number them. It's kind
personalize
of
them.
Yeah, personalize a little bit.
Anybody that wants it personalized.
Yeah.
I think you're going to make your money back. The vinyl community, of which you and I are proud members, is a very kind and supportive affair at the end of the day.
Yeah.
To my Mr. Boom microphone, I tend to hit it from time to time.
I've been really blessed by the family and friends I've made along the way here.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's wind the clock.
Look, you can ask me any fucking thing you want. Whatever you want to know, I will answer. I'm an open book. I have no secrets to conceal.
We'll see.
No, you got nothing.
Rachel, what is your first memory? Like, how far back? What's your as a
I love
kid?
the question. I love the question. You know what? I'm one of these people that has a really good memory for whatever reason. And, I'm old. I'm going to be 68 in February at the time of this. And what is our date? It's the 21st of December.
It's a solstice today.
2025. Yeah. So things are moving along. Earliest memory, I'm going to say it goes back to earliest memory. I'm going to go 4 years old, probably is when things start kicking into overdrive with a surety when I'm 4 years old. And we had bought a new house. We were coming out of a place called Esquimalt. My dad was a corporal in the RCMP. He may have been a constable at that time. So he ended up being a staff sergeant in the RCMP. That's a federal police officer. So it's our version. When you see Dudley Do-Right, that is actually a Canadian FBI agent. It's a federal agent and police force. So we were moving into the new house, and I remember my little friend, in brackets, Danny, he kind of bullied me a little bit. He was older, but I liked him. And I looked up to him because he was older. And I still remember him waving as we were in our car looking down on this little 5-year-old. I would have been 4. And then we walked over beams over and looking down into the basement of our new home that was being constructed from the ground up. And the year is I'm born in 58. So what are we looking at? 1962. It would have been like 61, 62 when this went down. So I'm going to put that as one of the very first. There's a whole bunch of memories from that period of time. And I think, Marty, because I moved around a lot, I can peg where I was at school at any given time. You know, how old were you? Where were you when you were? And I can place myself because my dad, being in the RCMP, meant we were transferred out. So I got to be the new kid in town a number of times growing up, which is not always an easy thing to do.
So how old were you when you were adopted?
I was 2 weeks old, thereabouts.
Oh,
So the
okay.
paperwork was done pretty quick. What's really interesting in hindsight, because I am adopted, I've reconnected with my birth mother, my adoptive mom, who's mom, right? There's mom. And she passed away in 2015 on Valentine's Day. And while I'm at her funeral, we're actually laying her, interring her in the ground with my father and my brother, who had a beautiful memorial for them out at Royal Oak Park, Burial Park. My phone's ringing, and it was my half sister phoning me up saying, "We've identified, we have a name for who your biological father was."
Oh, wow.
Up to that point, we didn't know who he was. And at that point, in February 15, I still hadn't met my birth mother. That would occur with her and siblings in tow in June. I think it was June 10th, 2015. And so I reconnected with my biological family. Now, I'm the only Indian in the bunch. My dad was a mixed race, half Indian guy, basically, half Canadian Indian, okay, American Indian.
So your siblings there are half siblings.
So they all got blue eyes and blonde hair and this kind of thing. And so I was a little disappointed because you always wanted, growing up, being adopted, who looks like me? I want to see I want to look at family, kith and kin, and see somebody. I want to see myself reflected back. And I could not do that with the phenotype. And I think because I'm part Native, I think that's when I look at Native people, they're the race I probably most identify with in terms of my own deepest psychological imprinting. I kind of go, oh, when I see some of my Native cousins, I look a bit like that, or I would fit in. I would not look out of place. You put me on the reservation, I would fit in pretty good.
So what was the impetus for your adoptive folks taking you at 2 weeks, and had they wanted to adopt, or what?
Yeah, it's the oldest, it's an old story. It's like they didn't think my mom could have children. Okay, her and my dad had been trying to have a kid, and the doctors say it doesn't look like you'll ever be able to have children, you folks. We're sorry, blah blah blah. So they went the adoption route. They got me in 58, and then 2 years later, my younger brother Scott was born to my mom, to my adoptive parents. And I love that kid. He suicided, took his own life in 1995, but I love that kid. Now, am I driving my producer nuts with the camera? We got a problem. What? You're good? You're happy?
It's great from here.
I just see her looking around. Okay. So the impetus was they didn't think my mom could have kids. They could have kids. At least one. They were able to get Scotty, and I just love that kid.
So there was a two of you growing up then?
Yeah, here's a picture of me and the kid. And this is me as a little kid. This is kind of, and there's, whoops, sorry, let me get it. There we go.
Look at that.
So there's my brother, I'm the Indian. There's my kid brother. You see I'm quite a bit darker when I'm younger. I'm outside a hell of a lot more. And so I would,
wow,
get back the other way. There we go. But little blonde-haired Scotty. A true Canadian pitcher. We got my kid brother's got his Montreal Canadian hockey socks on. And there's me. So this picture was taken, I'm going to say this is around 1965, 60. Yeah, I'm going to say 65, Christmas 1965 for that.
What was, when did,
there I am. Whoops. First
What
day,
was your first kind of musical exposure? Did your mom and dad have records that you heard first, or it was on the TV or the radio?
I was so unfortunate in having parents that absolutely did not get rock and roll. And I tell the story, my dad in the 1990s. Okay, we're going back because my dad died in 98. So this is around 1994. So he goes, "Hey," he goes, "I finally found some rock that I like." I go, "Oh, who do you like, Dad? What do we got here?" And so we're going out in the car, and he pops in an 8 track, or he pops it out. It had been sitting in there, and I look at it, and it's ABBA. I
Mm.
go, "Way to go, Dad! You're rocking the ABBA here." You go, "Yeah, they're pretty good. I like them." So ABBA. So they didn't like rock and roll. So there was no Beatles for me to get a hold of directly through my parents, but through friends and socializing. Like 1968, I remember my friend had the Beatles Get Back and Revolution, backed with Revolution. And then he also had Snoopy, Red Baron. And I was really into Charlie Brown. And I buy all the Charlie Brown hardbound versions. But back as a little kid, I collected them all in pocketbook. And in fact, I created my own charity. I didn't know about the legalities of copyright and branding. I was 8 years old, for the love of God. But I created my own Charlie Brown fan club, the Snoopy fan club. And it was a charity. So I'd draw little pictures of Charlie Brown, and then I'd sell them for a charity and give the money to the local fire department. They took the money. They didn't want the art because it was poorly drawn kid art from an 8-year-old, and you can just
Yeah.
imagine the horror. But that was what that was. But yeah, my own charity donation I had. So obviously, a philanthropic enterprise is part of my internal makeup, Marty.
Yeah. So did you go to public school growing up, or
I did.
were
I
your folks religious at all while you're growing up, or is
No,
that
not
came
at
later?
all. And in fact, they toiled my dad because he was RCMP. He became a scoutmaster. It was the whole idea around the time he became a scoutmaster. We're talking 1963, 62. We went to church for about 2 months. That was about all the old man could take. And it was high Anglican. He was raised as an Anglican. That's Episcopalian for our American audience. That's Church of England for our friends over in the UK. And so it lasted about 2 months. I had to go to Sunday school, which I did not groove on. I did not like it. And because mom, dad, and little brother Scott, because he was like 2 years old, they went to the main service. And I went down, and sent away almost like to the prison camp, to the other building below ground, and had to go to this. It wasn't below ground, but it was like an annex.
I know
And
the
so
feeling.
Sunday school was held there. And that's an early memory. Like I still remember the cloakroom at the back before you come out, and there was benches there with crayons and the paraphernalia for doing our little creations. So yeah, and I was taught my prayers. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray thee, Lord, my soul to keep. Should I die before I wake? The horror of that little prayer for little children. But back, in many generations, little children didn't necessarily make it through the night. If you do in any genealogy, which I'm into, you find a lot of kids die, early, and families are horrible. So religion was there in the background, but really, my dad and mom would both describe themselves as agnostic.
Hmm.
So my spiritual journey was something I undertook on my own recognizance, driven, compelled, innate, and sociologically, the ultimate manifestation, culmination occurred when I was 19 years old, which sociologists will tell you most people deal with their existential crises at that age. 19 is the mean age in which spiritual
Yeah.
decisions are made.
I certainly was around that time too. Yeah.
Yeah. So you would
Um,
fit that cohort.
yeah. Now, you had said you had moved around a little bit. Were you on the island most of the years when you're growing up? I know you lived in Manitoba for a bit.
Yeah, 66, 71. My dad got transferred. So for the most part, Victoria. Then we go to Burnaby, which is a suburb of Vancouver, the big city on the mainland. Vancouver Island is just to the southwest. It actually kind of stretches up the British Columbia coastline for a little bit. We actually dip on Vancouver Island at the southern tip of it, dips below the border between the US and Canada. So you look up to the United States in northern
Hmm.
Washington state, for example. Uh, so Vancouver Island most of the time, Victoria proper most of the time, growing up. 66, 71, back out to Winnipeg for the first time, and then back into British Columbia.
Okay,
Burnaby,
so
64, 65.
66, you're 8 years old. So from 8
Yeah,
to like 12, you're in Winnipeg. Was
8 to 13. Yeah.
8 to 13. Was that um did you how was it fitting in? Because that's kind of a those are formative years. Were you a fish out of water out in the prairie there, or what was that
Big
like?
time, big time fish out of water. And I was a BC kid, and then it worked the other way. When I came back to British Columbia, I was another fish out of water, and both situations resulted in bullying. And bullying also because I'm a smart ass and I've got a quick tongue and I've always had it. And I'm, dare I say myself, kind of I can be fairly quick witted. And so I could burn out bigger, dumber people with
Yeah.
words and that they would resent. And so, I used to have a gang come and chase me after school every day. There were about 5 guys come chasing me, and I'd have to run, or they'd grab a hold of me and punch the shit out of me. One day, little Bud Anderson, Bud, I love you wherever you are. Little Bud was a little guy, but he was part of the gang, but he made the mistake of chasing me without the gang. So I'm running like shit, like I always do. I saw me, the eye contact was made. I started buzzing across the snow cast field of the playground. Bud comes barreling after me, and we're running. And I said, "Oh, just instinct, oh, here they come." But then I realized, oh, it's just Bud. So I stopped, turned around, grabbed him, threw him down, and laid my forearm over his neck and just pressed in. I said, "Leave me alone. If you ever fucking come after me again, I'll kill you." He never bothered me again.
Hmm.
So that took Bud out of the gang. I put the fear of God into him. And I've got a temper. When I get mad, I get mad. People know me on
You
the
don't say.
Yeah, if you see me mad, if you see me get mad, I get mad. Nothing fake about it. I get mad. But Marty, I get over it real quick too.
You
I don't
do. You do. I know that.
I don't hold grudges on
No.
anybody. There's nobody I hold a grudge on. All my enemies are welcome on my show.
Yeah.
Every single one. We've had William up, and I don't call William an enemy. I just don't call anybody. The only one I won't have is Invisible Ray. The only reason I won't have Invisible Ray, he's too unpredictable. So he could say things to offend audience, and women in particular and things like that. So there's a concern there. But everybody else is an open book. William, Jason Rojas, Spring Hill Jim, Davy Strange name, some of these names, Marius Stark, all those guys would be welcome on the program. Or Fred Dobbs, I have no problem with any of those guys coming in.
So what was the impetus for moving back to BC? Did your dad get a job transfer? And did you feel like, oh man, we get to go home at that point?
It was the exact opposite. So I cried. I'm 7 years old when the news strikes that Dad's going to be 1966, early 66. We find out that Dad's going to get transferred. So I was depressed because I had moved from Victoria. I didn't want to move to from out of Victoria into Burnaby. You want stability as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
When you're an army brat, when you're one of these federal kids, you move around because your dad gets transferred, like you're saying, Marty. So I was sad. I cried. I didn't want to leave my pals in Burnaby. I didn't want to leave my pals in Victoria when that move came. Victoria to Burnaby wasn't that big a deal. Burnaby to Winnipeg I knew it was halfway across the country. Even at 8 years old, I knew I could look at the map and go, this is not good.
Yeah.
And so that was difficult. 5 years later, it's the exact opposite. And I'm still in contact with my best buddy from Winnipeg, Wilf Peel. I just love that guy. And so him and I are still in contact. I got my producer. Is that a note for me, producer? What do we got?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I still remember last time say, well, Wilf's kicking a soccer ball. He's a German kid, German Canadian. His parents came over to Germany. And he's kicking a soccer ball. I go, well, Wilf, this is like kids do. You're 13. I may not see you again. I'm kind of moving now. This is it. So he just looks up, gives me a head nod. Yeah, okay. So that crushed me. I go, Wilf, we're best pal. What? This is it? This is my send off. I'm a sentimental slob, Marty. I'll drop a tear at the drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
So we end up we have to leave. We move into Winnipeg. Now I'm the new kid again. First thing that happens, one of the things in 1971 in Winnipeg, a company called Bauer, who made a name for themselves in hockey gear. A lot of NHL
I had
players
Bauer skates. I think I
wear
still have
Bauer
them.
skates,
Yeah,
Bauer hockey helmets.
yeah.
They're a household name in hockey circles these days. But back then, Bauer wasn't a well-known company at all, not for their hockey gear, for anything. But one thing they had multicolored shoes, not meaning like red, green, yellow, purple, all in one shoe, meaning they had a line of red shoes. You could buy a red shoe, you could buy a green shoe, you could buy an orange shoe, a yellow shoe. They came in different colors. Right? And this was already happening in California, US. You could get this stuff. America was always, California is where I point to, was always 2 years ahead of us in fashion. Whatever was going on with California, we'd be getting 2 years after California had it. And it became de rigueur for California. 2 years later, it becomes de rigueur for us. And so I had a pair of green Bauer runners that come out to Victoria. Plus, the old man had given me a little blue briefcase with Scotch, kind of Scottish plaid, blue vinyl, cheap Kmart briefcase for my books and stuff. Here you go. And my dad was tough as nails. Okay. He's a cop. He's old school. He had a brush cut in the 60s. It was just tough as nails. And so that guy, so I go, Dad, yeah, I don't want, you can't give me that. He goes, there's nothing wrong with it. All the kids are wearing Levi's. I got to have Levi's, Dad. I got to have Levi's. These will do fine. Top Gun. I'd have like Top Gun with the elastic waist. Oh, my girlfriend. Wearing Levi's. I got this shit. Then you have the pretty little girl with long blonde hair. She's got her gorgeous Laurentian crayons, which were a pencil crayon company up here in Canada. They were milky smooth wax crayons that you could draw a pencil crayon. Absolutely gorgeous. I got this crap brand called Canadiana for 98 cents. So all the little girls doing her thing, I'm going to draw a little horsey, and it's all beautiful, and it's wax, and it's going great. I'm sitting there ripping the hell out of my construction paper because these pencil leads are so sharp that you can't even do proper art with them. Absolutely horrible.
Okay, so you're 13.
I had a tragic childhood. Yes.
Was corporal punishment a thing in your family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course I was a school of wait till your father comes home. Mom wouldn't do nothing. She said, you wait till your father. That struck the fear of God into me.
Yeah, the anticipation is.
I said, I'm dead. I am dead. When I was 6 years old, I was five. We're over in, we had moved again. And because Dad had to sell the house, we're on our way to Burnaby, sell the house. So I'm sitting there and I come up to my mom because I'd heard the word earlier today. I go, Mom, I go to my dad. I made the mistake. Dad was there. I go, you're a bitch.
Ooh.
5 years old to my mom. You're a bitch. I never called her that again as long as I live. The old man grabbed me. What did you say? I go, because I'm five. I didn't have a clue what I was even saying. I had no clue. And so he took me out to the woodshed, which was my bedroom. Spank, spank, spank. That was the end of that. I want a car. Apparently, I made the mistake of asking for a car at the supermarket one time or in the mall. I go, hey, I want the car. I want a little car. You're not getting the car. Car. Slap, slap, slap in the car. Then you get spanked, and then you get put in the car, and you stay in the car with the doors locked. Nobody's stealing me, and they went back shopping. Apparently, I have no memory of it, but that's what went down.
Okay, so you're back at you're 13.
Yep.
Your puberty's coming on strong.
Big
Are
time.
you at this time? Are you having any kind of identity crisis at all, or wondering about your identity?
I had the identity crisis happens very early on. Basically, most psychologists will tell you that gender identity is fixed by the time you're 3 years old. You know if you're a boy or a girl by the time you're 3. With me, I'd play with it. It was more like Play-Doh. It was malleable. So when I'd go to bed, and I believe it was largely due to the psychology, the dynamic between my adoptive father and myself, and the fact that I was told right away when I was little I was adopted. So I knew, that I was adopted very early on. But I would say, am I going to be a boy or a girl in my dream tonight? Whatever I wanted to be, I would be. I had lucid dreaming to a limited extent, at least in terms of choosing my identity. In that state, I could do it. And I believe the ability in childhood, you're able to do this. I haven't researched it, and it posits an interesting question, is that I believe because identity and brain formation were so soon out of the womb. Within 5 years ago, I'm a sperm and an egg dancing and multiplying. That you can gain more control over the subconscious and dream state, these altered conscious states. I believe children have greater access to them probably than we can by the time these brain passageways are more set and solidified.
Right.
So the difference, we're learning about reality in the real world, tactily, sensorially, we're all putting it together. So the learning curve, apparently a child that's like 2 months old, the learning curve on that kid, if you could measure it, is like a rocket ship going up on a graph,
Yeah.
all on the uptick. If you're, at the amount of information we're taking in and learning about our world.
Were you feeling conflicted at some point about the fact that you knew you were a boy,
Yeah.
but you felt like you should be a girl?
And I still know that. I still know I'm male. Like there's no getting around it. For me, it's very cut and dry. I don't fall into the usual classifications for the thing. Like I don't believe I'm a female stuck in a male body. What I believe is that there was a disconnect, that I was fundamentally unhappy, and that here's what I think. I think my dad set a standard for masculinity because he was a cop. He was a scoutmaster. We were playing hockey, a father's son in the garage when we're 5 years old. And I went hard after the puck, and my dad checked me a bit, not hard, but I don't think he knew how strong he was, right? And so he checked me and it hurt, right? And then I started crying because I'm like 5. And ow, yeah. And I go, quit crying. Now he feels bad because he feels like a big galoot. Now, interestingly, years later, he confessed to me that he had a dream that he could never figure out of a gigantic steam engine, a train, and I'm a little baby on the train track, and this big steam engine comes and kills me, destroys me on the railroad tracks. Well, I knew what it meant. I know what that means. You know what that means. My dad's the engine.
Yeah.
And I'm the kid. He's got this little baby that he's in no way emotionally or psychologically equipped to deal with. His mother died when he was 17 years old. And, and so I'm not sure exactly. He loved his mom, but I don't know the nature of my grandfather, my grandmother's relationship to him and everything else. A lot of generational psychology there, Marty. Yeah. So for me, it was, I think, an impossible standard was there. And I think subconsciously I was reacting. I said, well, I'll never be that. I can't be that. So I identified, I think, to some extent more with my mom than I did with my dad. My brother liked to tinker with machinery and electronics and pull things apart and figure out how things work. I had no interest in that. I was an artist. Like my biological father is a guitar player, he does art. That was me. I'm an artist type person. My own son, when he was born, I hoped to hell he would have a science brain and be a dentist and go make $1 million. No luck. He's an artist type like me. So we have a harder time making money. What are you going to do? We don't have we're big picture. We don't have the detail, the patience to go look and trace something down, the way it needs to be done in the scientific realm.
Right? So when you graduate high school or you're done 17, 18 years old, at that point, you know who you are as a person more. It's not the pretend life is pretty much something that you can identify as separate from. You're becoming an adult, right? So it's time to grow up. What were you doing when you left school? Did you go into college right away, or did you felt like you have to get a job? Did you move out of the house?
The world, I moved out of the house pretty early on. So high school, I graduate the usual age, 18 years old. And the first kind of job I did out of high school was I got a paper, like I delivered it at the university. My dad had a friend, but it was a short-term thing. I couldn't stick with it. And I was part of the mail delivery, the mailroom thing. So I drive around the University of Victoria campus, dropping off mail, inter-university mail from one department to the other, that sort of thing. So I did that for a few months. And then I got a job at a car lot, Empress Pontiac Buick in Victoria, British Columbia. It's Dave Wheaton now. It's still going. And I was a lot boy. So I'd go in, but I had no mechanical aptitude. I was a nightmare there. I practically I destroyed so many cars there. I didn't know how to drive a stick shift. So I learned how to drive a standard on a car lot. And all the salesmen, it was nightmarish for them. I got in the front end of a Camaro, a 1972 Camaro. And no, it was Corvette. It was an orange Corvette. Gorgeous Corvette with big, and the salesman said, "Don't fuck this up. Like, don't dent it. Don't do anything to that Corvette." And because I had no understanding of it, because you sit in it and the wheel wells. If you've ever been in a Corvette, the wheel wells are just in front. It's an amazing thing to sit inside the drive. So I drove it around. Fortunately, I didn't bang it out, but I was in a Pontiac Ventura, and I infamously ripped the grill off of Ventura. Because we used to park the car so nobody could drive a car off the lot at night. So you T-bone them up. And so we put a T-bone up against an international truck. Well, this Ventura had a grill that went in, and then it dovetailed into a little V shape out front, right? Ventura. Pontiac Ventura. So I'm backing up. It's early in the morning. It's foggy out. I go in. I hop into the international, start her up, and it's a standard. And I pull it back. And as I go back, I feel myself rising up as my passenger side starts going up. I go, what the fuck? And then bang, I come down. I get out of the car. I go, what the fuck? And I walk around, and apparently my bumper, which stood out on the International, went moving along. And by the time it got to the halfway point on the Ventura, it caught that pointed, and it just peeled it back like a banana. So then the other one I did, there's one more. I'm in a huge motorhome, massive motorhome, and I'm in the under part. There's an underhang with the beams that support, these overhangs in these kind of car lots, the garage. They're usually kind of a causeway between the shop where the salesman, the showroom, and the service department are over on the. Well, I've got this motorhome. I can't see behind me, and I'm backing it up in there. Bang! And a huge thunderous bang echoing under there. And the head of the sales department, who's my boss, he hears a bang, and he looks up. There's me in this freaking motorhome. I go, I'm sorry, because I couldn't fucking see the beam there. So I was a disaster. I was the worst lot boy they could have ever had, but I did learn how to drive a standard shift there. And I could drive a standard quite well.
What was your first car? When did you get your first car?
Later. That's another story. What, is it too much for you? Is it too much for you, Marty? I can make them long or short,
No, we got a lot of stuff to get to, so we just kind of.
Okay, yeah, I was 19 years old when I got my license. Everybody got their license ahead of me. Yeah, just guide me along, and I'll make them sure. I can make them,
No, it's all, you're doing great.
Anyway, so I was 19 when I was the last one, but I got it on the first ride. The first thing I did, I got my buddy's 55 Pontiac. The first move I did, I went over the curb, bang, down we go. My buddies there, I'll say, everybody smoked. I'll say, everybody's sitting back. Oh, he's fucked. There's no way he's getting his license. But because I was 19, not 16, the guy figured, oh, I'm more responsible. Which, he don't know me too well, do he? Like Bugs Bunny would say. And so, I passed on the first round. But I got a Cortina, a little red Cortina was my first car.
Okay, right on.
My kid brother's car, actually. He left it when they went to Manitoba or to Drumheller.
So, who was your first? When was your first girlfriend or romantic?
Brenda Checkley. Well, the first one, I'm 5 years old. I had two chicks fighting over me when I was 5. And one was really cute blonde. The other one was a little brunette. The brunette wasn't as good looking. She wasn't ugly. But she wasn't a bombshell. The blonde was hot. And as a 5-year-old, I knew this. And I said, I'm going to eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We did. You got to pick one of us to be your girlfriend. So I said, okay, well, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Now, I had already been a veteran of eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and I knew how my eeny, meeny, miny, mo's will end up. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger. We didn't say tiger in those days, by the toe. And and I picked the brunette. I knew, because I figured this blonde's going to get a boyfriend without half trying, but the brunette may have to work at it a bit. So she's going to be my girlfriend. So she was my girlfriend for like half an hour until something else came up, hopscotch or something.
When was your first, like, legit? Like, you knew that.
I was dating a girl when I was 13, Brenda Checkley.
Okay.
So she was the older sister, kid brother, with my kid brothers playing hockey, and so we dated a little bit.
Did you have a girl in high school?
No, I was horrible. I was a flop with chicks. I took my problems down to Madame Rue, the gypsy with the gold cap tooth. No, Friday nights were let's get laid, let's get high, let's get drunk, and let's get laid. Woo! So we'd all pile in the car. We're all going, let's get laid. We're going to get, and but we sure got drunk a lot. So it was like get laid, get drunk, have a great time. So I ended up getting drunk a lot. I was a flop with chicks. That was horrible.
How old were you when you first met Sue?
I guess I want to say 23.
Okay, so it wasn't too many years after.
It would have been 1980. I met her in 1980.
What was the first interaction with Sue?
Sue was a wait. She was working as a waitress at a cocktail bar. No, it wasn't cocktail bar. She was working at a pizza joint, nice family restaurant pizza joint. And my wife at the time, well, she wasn't my wife. We were engaged. I didn't want to be engaged. That's another story. But anyway, yeah, that's Sue's fault. But anyway, I ended up marrying this other girl. It's a nice lady, but she's got problems. And God bless her wherever she is, and want every good thing. But anyway, they were working together, and Sue was just happened to be the other girl working the shift. So I met Sue. I'm a Christian. And I freaked her out. I looked at her in the eye, and I had genuine affection because that's just the way I am. And there was something about my vibe or something. It freaked her out, and she went and hid in the bathroom. She wouldn't come. Where's Sue? Where's my waitress? I think Sue was serving us. And, so that was our very first encounter. Then, and through another friend, Sue ended up converting to Christianity. We're very involved in Christianity. Sue was looking for things on her own recognizance, being, again, in that 19-year-old age bracket. Sue's 4 years younger than me, 3 years, 3 to 4, kind of. There's a period in time where our months overlap, and she's 4 years distance. Mostly, as we circle one another, we're within a 3-year frame.
Okay, so let's back up to your conversion. Let's grab your conversion there at 19. Yeah. What started that off? Was there... a whole
bunch of stories. It's very long. It's too long for your. I think.
Yeah, give us the broad strokes.
Broad strokes. My buddy wanted me. My buddy got a girl pregnant for a number of times. He got her pregnant so many times, and they needed money. I had some money, and they said, "Could you pay for the abortion?" Which I did. And then we were talking about Beatles. I was big into Beatles and stuff. I wasn't a Christian, but I'm kind of on this journey, right? And I've been on this journey since I was very young. When I was 6 years old, I philosophized what reality was in this. People have seen me talk about this before. So anyway, by the time I was 6, I had kind of some of the existentials worked out. But they were mean to Yoko, and they said she looks like a bag. Lennon could have any chick he wanted. And I was so appalled. I said, how narrow-minded, how short-sighted, how unrecognizant of our own aging process. What does anybody look like at 40 compared to where they are in 16, 17, 18, all this sort of, we naturally grow older. So love should transcend those parameters. So I didn't like that. And I thought it was narrow. I said, there's got to be more to life than just, getting laid and trying to get high and all this. And I was starting to look for different things. I ran across Eric von Daniken and astral projection and astrology, and I got into the metaphysic. And then I read The Late Great Planet Earth about the second coming of Christ, where the world is, what's going on, and it resonated with me. And I said,
is that Hal Lindsey? Is that right?
Pardon me?
Is that Hal Lindsey?
It is Hal Lindsey, 1972, I believe. And then we took a class called World Religions. We had all sorts of people come in, Orthodox Christians, Catholics, Anglicans, the mainstream stuff. We didn't have any evangelicals come by, but we had the mainstream. We had Mormons, we had Islam, and we had a Jewish guy. We had an Orthodox Jew, but we had a Reformed Jew. He came in, and he was so cool, the Reformed Jew. And I went, that guy, whatever he's doing, there's truth in that. There's truth. I don't know the full thing, Like, what, that guy's rocking it. I like that guy. So I knew there was truth in Judaism from that guy's testimony.
Was the during this period, are you feeling some mental anguish or a feeling of unworthiness at all that was making you, because you're talking about you're searching for answers at this time,
Yeah.
and I remember, being at that age and whatever, and just wondering what is it all about, whatever.
Yeah.
Did your identity at that time play into your thinking, like, there's something wrong with me, I need a savior?
No, not about the gender thing. The gender thing was very interesting. It's very opportunistic as well. When things really hit ahead was I was in my 40s, so it was something I could contain or control my entire life. I could hold it down. So it was like something wanted to take control of me, if you will. This desire, right? This unhappiness with my masculinity and feeling like a failure in that, right?
Did you feel like that was a sinful aspect of your nature at all when you were
I
becoming
did.
a
It didn't
Christian?
factor in it on. To be honest, quite honest, it wasn't forefront on my thinking.
Okay.
I just knew I was fundamentally wrong anyway. For more than that, for resentments, when I was 5 years old. No, I was younger. I was like 4, and there was a little baby. These girls lived next door. They were really nice, and they were giving this little baby attention, and I didn't like. I was very jealous that the little baby was getting attention. So I Bugs Bunnied the little baby. I still have guilt about this. I poked the little baby with 2 fingers right in its eyes, like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
I still have guilt about it to this
Yeah.
day. But I don't really. I mean, because I understand, I know the motivation. Well, I was just plain out and out jealous of this little kid because all these girls were fawning over the little baby. And normally they would fawn over me because I was younger than these girls, right? But then they found something smaller and cuter than me.
So did you feel like, when you were saying you were engaged when you had met Sue, did your engagement to your first wife, was that something that you felt was, you're being directed spiritually, like it was what God wanted for you, or did you want that?
It's what I wanted. And this is a problem of my life. Too much of I want. I wanted a university degree, so I got one. Did God want me to get that university degree? Probably not. I wanted to get married. See, I didn't want it first. I tried to break up with my first, and I would have walked away. I was really good. I would have done it. But then she sent Sue, they were kind of best friends, sent Sue out to get me. Drove her out. I think you drove her out. And then I got kind of hooked back again. But I'd walk away. But she had to drive like 30 miles out of town to get me. And then I got embroiled again, and we started going back together. And then it was a time when a lot of young people were getting married. Sue got married around the same time, about a few months after I got married. She got married, and we were too young. I was 23 years old, and it was in the microcosm of church, which was overseeing everything, which was the very best thing that ever happened to me, and the very worst thing that ever happened to me all at once. It was a real mixed bag. Church was some of the greatest things I've ever seen, some of the worst things I've ever seen, all in the same microcosm. So that's kind of the long and short on that. And of course, the manifestation, God manifested to me, Marty. And I'll tell anybody this: if you really do it, if you really sacrifice yourself and go hard, all in. That's the secret. You got to go all in. He will manifest. There is a manifestation.
That I hear you say that, but it's easy to say you haven't gone all in if you don't have the manifestation. But
it's a catch-22. All I will say is that the heart is deceitful above all things, as the Bible says. So when we think we may have done everything we can, we may not have. God has to charge on that. You got to charge on that yourself. It's a total surrender, a complete and total utter surrender.
But that works in reverse too, doesn't it? That you can be deceived about the spiritual aspect or the revelation that you believe you've had.
Absolutely, you can. In my case, it was a manifestation of living water that I got that was discernible and that I experienced it, and that after I had experienced it, I had the doctrine that supported the experience. And there was no other philosophy or ideology in place that could have predisposed me to the phenomena that occurred within a public context, which is remarkable. And the sheer power of it, and what happened psychologically, emotionally following it, and the sealing that occurred within me, that's directed me every step of the way ever since. Every step of the way ever since that manifestation. But that followed hard on the heels of 2 years. I quit swearing. I like to swear, if you haven't noticed.
No.
And I smoked. I smoked and I drank, and I was still trying to get laid. I put all of that aside, and I put aside all my pride. And I'm wrong. I'm fundamentally wrong, and I know I'm wrong. And I just believe, and you're the guy. I'm all in. All my chips are going to you. Let's go. Let's rumble. Let's do this. I'll wrestle with you like Jacob. I'll wrestle with you. However long you're not letting me go until I get my blessing.
So so when you first got married, you and your first wife and Sue and her husband, you're all going to the same church, right?
We are. Yeah.
Okay. When does that kind of dissolve your love for your first wife? Not that it dissolved, but when did you know that there was a problem?
So her psychological problems were problematic. Like I think now she would identify herself as bipolar, extreme ups, extreme downs, huge emotional. She's a force of nature, and a wonderful human. With all that, when she was at her best, and a very gifted human being, psychologically, emotionally, intellectually. She had a lot going on, still does. I put her up with anybody I've ever met. She was certainly worthy of my most tempestuous moments, and my most brilliant insight. She could go toe to toe. Wonderful woman, but her own weaknesses crippled her and created problems in the marriage. Finances were a big problem for us, which are hard on any marriage.
Yeah, sure.
And and that was another area that bled into like I did construction work, but I didn't have my heart in construction, so I didn't learn the trade. I was content just to bring the mud and just a strong back and a quick of foot. And so I did laboring. I could put up beams and 2x4s, and I could do shiplap and put rebar in. I could do all that, but I couldn't actually master the trade and become the journeyman myself. I didn't have the interest for it. And all during that period of time, at the height of my youth, the height of my powers, I had my eyes on the ministry. I'm good at the Bible, man. I got good at the Bible here. So I want to expound on that.
Okay.
And my gift was recognized. People recognized I was very gifted at it.
How old are you? How long have you been married when your relationship with Sue became romantic?
Oh man, I got to do the math on that. I would say I got married in 1981 to Sandy, and then Sue and I got married 2002. But we have an affair in 1991, out of which our son is born.
Right.
So while I'm married to the first wife, I have an affair with Sue. She gets pregnant, but because we're quote Christian people, we want to, you want to do the right thing. We sinned against my wife. We both acknowledge that, right? And I still acknowledge that to this very day. I sinned against my first wife, but the marriage was already, to all intents and purposes, over by the time even that happens. And nobody was happy. She was planning on leaving me and all this sort of thing, and but it was just not good.
One thing that really got me in the feels when I was interviewing Sue was that she gave up your son to your first wife.
She did, and I did too.
Yeah, and that to me is just like, boy, that just tears me apart. And I wonder what was that? I mean, Sue kind of explained herself a little bit, but what was that like? Did it feel right, or how long did it feel right that that's what you needed to do? And
it didn't feel right. It was panic mode. So nobody felt right about it in the immediate time. We were in fight or flight pure amygdala, reptilian brain. This is so fucking bad. We got to get out of here. And Sue turns to me. She says, I'm going. And she was living with us, right? Kind of like a de facto nanny after John. So it allowed her to look after the boy. Plus, Sue was a huge financial help. My wife had crippling depression. She couldn't get out of bed. It was a very difficult situation. And I was trying to do what I could do with whatever job I could hold down and get without a skilled trade. It was very difficult financially. And so when she said, I can't take it anymore, I got to get out, I said, well, I'm going with you. That was 9 years after John was born. Right?
Oh, okay. So at this point, John doesn't know that Sue's his mom.
He knew, here's the interesting thing. Sue told him when he was 9, I think he was finally, no, Sandy told him, but he was 9 years old is when he found out. But I have a feeling, he knew he was adopted like I did right away. But I think somewhere in his little noggin, he kind of sussed it all out anyway. I think he kind of figured out what was what without anybody really saying anything that he would be aware of. So we conceded to my first wife's desires on all of this. And I actually had to give up my son and adopt him to myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So when Sue left, then you left with Sue and John stayed with Sandy.
Yes, correct.
Okay. When did how long did you get a divorce right away, or
pretty much we sued for divorce? It was initiated from our end, and it was within a year or so. I think we had to wait a year for it too.
And you both knew that you wanted to be together, you and Sue.
Oh yeah. I mean, I knew there was good chemistry with Sue, and I always loved her, but I could do it without, the sexual thing. I just had care for her. I love her as a person. That's why we're, I think, a great team. Like, here's the deal. I had a sex change. She doesn't like chicks. So there's no jiggy. There's no, lesbian makeout sessions going on. We love one another. There's some hugging, there's a little kissing, but there's no hardcore lesbian action going on.
Yeah.
It's not in the cards, and because she married a guy, she's a straight woman, and I've had homosexual sex before, but I don't identify as gay per se. I identify more as a very damaged individual when it comes to sexual identity. So that's what I look at myself. Yeah, an absolute train wreck of sexual identity.
I remember Sue was saying something in our interview about you dressing as a woman in church. What was did you do that? And that was kind of, that instigated kind of like you're being kicked out of the church?
No. I don't think I ever dressed as a female in church. I don't think that ever happened.
I thought that she said that. Okay.
It was during that period of time where this sort of thing was manifesting. Marty, very bluntly, I had a complete and total breakdown through church. I had guys, my church was charismatic church. They got into prosperity doctrine. And I spoke openly and publicly against it. And the church, as a result, turned against me. Also, we had some very carnal-minded people that were in positions of authority, people that weren't able to manifest the power of God. I've seen people that when they do their thing, there's a humility, a brokenness in the individual. When they speak, the power of God is there with them. And when you have the real deal, when you drink of that living water, no substitute will suffice. And we had people like that in our body. We talk of the church as the body of Christ. Within our body, the believers, the congregation, we have people that had that power. Those people were getting very short thrift. But what we're getting in were business people, social people of high social standing. So they became the power in the church. And what happened? We got a church of great financial wealth and influence and social standing, but we lost the power. There was no spiritual power there. And so I spoke against this. I said, this guy should be doing it, not this guy. And I also made the mistake of saying I should be doing that and not that guy, because I know way more than that guy and I can release that power. that you're looking to buy.
And of
'Cause I
course
paid the price.
you were rebuked at that point, right? Because
Completely
you
rebuked,
yeah.
completely rebuked. And they sent people to spy on my Bible. So I had Bible study. I was getting more people at my Bible study than the official church sanctioned stuff because there was life where I was, and I knew it. And people were getting fed, and it was a great thing. And when the spies came, I only knew I was being spied on because the spies said, actually, full disclosure, I was David Dan. They go, a full disclosure, we're sent here to spy on you. So I was up there. They had a guy named Doug Coy. Doug Coy calls me out and said, there's somebody here. The Lord's telling me. And of course, the guy's complete bullshit. This got a mean spirit. Would Dave come up here? Dave Williams, come on up. So I got, 600 people looking at me. This is a night service, wasn't a morning one. I have 600 people watching me as I go up, and I grabbed his hand and I squeezed it. And I leaned in on him and said, don't do any of your freak circus shit, because I'll blow it wide open. I ain't dancing. You can play your fucking game, but I won't play it, So do your thing. And he totally backed off because I sent the thrill of, the fear of God into him. And so it was that kind of thing. So something that was beautiful, harmonious, edifying, and life-giving turned into something that was money-seeking, social status desiring. And when they did that, they lost the key to the plot. And other false teachings and like came in. But that was the worst of it. The church fragmented, the body fragmented. It ended up splintering after I left because it was predictable. Once you get that kind of carnality and something beautiful was destroyed.
I think I can really identify with a lot of what you saw in different manners. Just the power dynamic in a church and how it's when somebody's speaking for the Lord, you can't falsify what they're saying. So it's just if they're going to be convincing, or if you can tell, certain people can tell they're being genuine or disingenuous.
Well, it fucks you up if some guy turns to you and go, fuck you, I think you're an idiot. That alone could fuck you up. But if some guy turns to you and goes, you're a fucking idiot. Oh, and God says so too. Me and God say you're an idiot. Now you got God. What, God thinks I'm a loser? I'm an idiot? I'm a devil? And I had some guy literally say that. Well, we had a fine Bible study until some devil showed up. And I'm sitting there going, oh, that would have been me. Because they were doing a holiness revival, repentance revival. I said, repentance doesn't work this way, people. You can't just drum it up into some sort of stage production where you're all going to fall before the altar and think that's going to count anything for God. You're full of shit.
Yeah.
I didn't speak in the vernacular in those days. But I was essentially saying, that was my message to him. You people are barking up the wrong tree. This is not pleasing in God's eyes.
Is this like mid 80s, early 90s kind of time?
Yeah, mid 80s. I lasted in all disclosure, I think 3 years, 2 years hardcore and 3 years total in organized religion. That's all I could take. I'm too much of a maverick. I break the mold. I break the code. And to this day, I've never been back to church. I did a little bit in Alberta when I moved out there, but that's way back in 1981. So the last time I was really involved with church in any real manner or any manner to be spoken of would have been 82, 83. Something.
Were you and Sue together when you left the church? Okay. Yeah. And did she feel, were you both like, yeah, we got to get?
We are so simpatico on our spirituality. We reflect off each other.
Yeah. Was it, did you feel when you left together, did you feel a rebirth or a renewed connection to each other? Like we're free kind of from that?
Oh, it felt good to be out. We knew we knew God. So I started saying no to God for a long time, Marty. I went to the university. People say, well, Dave, you've got a lot of head knowledge, your Bible, but you're not really, kind of what. And in those days, like everything that could work for me worked against me. I wasn't the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, like you, Marty, would have done great in my church. You look good. You got the look. You would have been proper. You would have killed in a three-piece suit. You put a three-piece suit on me and people go, why is that Indian wearing a three-piece suit? That kind of thing. Indians don't look as good in white man's clothing. It's just we look good in buckskin. Okay, let's be clear about that. We look great in buckskin. So it was because of that, that there wasn't. I was saying no to God on a lot of things, And so I went to university. Now, here's the thing, Marty. I majored in church history because I knew a lot about it. So I said, I'll take my church history. If I got head knowledge, I'll take it where you can make some money off of it, and I'll take it to the secular audience. But I couldn't compromise my core values, and I realized once I got in the secular arena that my spirituality, there's no way it could shake hands and get along with a world system. So, I did the Great Awakening under Jonathan Edwards, 1737, the revivals, John and Charles Wesley, Methodism, and Pietism on the continent, and these movements in America, in England, on the continent. That was my master's thesis. I took it to my English prof, or English born, raised Birmingham professor, history professor, who was already tenured. That was a mistake I made. He was already tenured. He didn't need another scalp on his belt to build his own credentials so he could get tenure. This guy was a veteran, a professor. He needed me like a hole in the head. And he just said, there's no way you can present your thesis in this environment. We both know this can't fly. And I go, yeah, I know. So I didn't get my master's degree, even though I spent 3 years. I got straight A's on all the coursework, everything. And, I was destined, but I kind of punched out, ejected at last month. Said, I can't sell my soul for this. I would I could have had the degree. Think about it, Marty. I'm native Indian living in British Columbia, not full native, obviously I'm quarter native, but to play that card, that race card in British Columbia right now, there is law in the books where all lands white people cannot own land in British Columbia anymore. It's being challenged by native tribes because there were no treaties with them. People there's no building projects going on right now. They can't be financed because the native land claims are laying claim to all the land. It's going back to the Indians. So people no longer own in Richmond, British Columbia. Look this up. I'm not saying bullshit. The native lands, the bands are laying claim to them. So we're at a stalemate right now. There's a standstill. People don't know where their taxes are going. Do we pay the Indians or do we pay the government, who now admit that this is on stolen land, unceded Coetchiquan territory kind of thing? But I could have played that card as a native.
Are you saying you could have used your powers for evil?
I could have used my powers for evil. Not only that, but I'm transgender. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So now we got a transgender Indian that could be full professor. I'd be tenured at that same university. At my age right now, I would have had a career in tenured, but I would have had sell my soul to do it. Oh, everyone. Hi, I'm Rachel. Great to have everybody in. And your pronouns are Bill? Okay, right. Okay, they, and you're Shirley, she, her. Wonderful. All right, so we're going to learn about the matriarchy and why we got to fight against what's a patriarchal overthrow of our people. Okay. And I want to acknowledge that my cousins, the Conewishawa, upon whose land unceded territory.
So I sense a little bit of resentment towards the people who want to reiterate the historical place or treatment of the natives in British Columbia. Like there's some white guilt involved there that you think isn't necessarily justified.
Oh, there's no need for white guilt in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because look, I'm coordinator. I got cousins on reservations right now. They're on reservations. People I'm in contact with. It's not just on paper. They're cousins of mine that they know I'm their cousin, and we talk and we do stuff. Hey, have you found Aunt Shirley yet? I'm still working on it, Carol. This sort of thing. So, no, it's not resentment. It's just how foolhardy an expedition this is, how hurtful it is. And the whole, this is a large, we kind of segue into politics, which I don't think we want to really do here. I just simply say that there's a lot, undermining all this kind of thinking that has been hurtful to our society. And it's not helping, certainly not helping us here in Canada. But you guys are doing better and better every time I turn around. Things are going very well with the United States of America. It's not without problems, but I think you're on a very healthy trajectory right now for the country.
So take me to the year or so before you decide to change it up. change your gender.
The sex change and all that.
Yeah. What was
So
going on for the couple years before that?
Drinking a lot. I wouldn't say I'm an alcoholic at that point, but I'm over drinking, right? You know, if I go out, I'm drinking. I was binge drinking. I'm going to say that I was binge drinking.
And what year? What year was this? So you and Sue had been together for quite a while. You're married at this point.
Yeah, 2002. We were married. This is 2007 or so.
Okay.
2000, 2005 even. About 2005. I get the sex change in what 2007. Yeah, this is how big is this to me? I can't even remember. I think it was 2007, 2008, something like that. And it was a two-part deal. You go to Montreal, so I got to see Montreal, which was great. The hospital was great. Everything was great about it. And I was interacting with a lot of trans people at this time. So I'm talking a lot of trans women, trans men, women that have gone to guys, guys going to girls, the crazy mixed up, muddled up world, except for Lola. And anyway, I went out to Montreal. But yeah, it was all part and parcel, a breakdown. And then my testosterone levels being a male at about 48, it was an opportunistic thing as well. I feel that my own natural testosterone levels were down. I do believe in hindsight and also the integrity within my own psychology. No half measures. Get rid of the tackle and berries. We got to have it. Girls have vaginas. Girls have breasts. You know, I want to do whatever I can do to go on that side of the fence. I'm going to make that possible. Okay. And it wasn't so much to make the world change to me. I knew with my personal values that I had to change the world. You want to be a girl, then you better act, look, and behave and move and speak and do everything in your power to be that for an unbelieving world. And then you'll have no troubles going forward. And even now, sometimes I'm not even giving the old effort, but a waitress will go, "Oh, and what would you ladies like?" Sometimes it's like, "And for you, sir, I'll get that." But sometimes I go, "What would you ladies like?" It doesn't mean anything anymore. I've done it. I went, I achieved, I did the best I could with the whole change. I give it my all. And at the end of the day, I'm still an XY chromosome person. And I'm now happy in my own skin because the testosterone variable has been so depleted that there's so much calmness, which I mean, I'm a firing brand, but in myself, I'm at peace, man. I got.
Do you take estrogen?
Yeah, I have to. I have to. If I don't take estrogen, then I'd have to take testosterone. And on some level, testosterone does not agree with me.
Okay.
Estrogen seems to work.
When you wake up from the surgery,
yeah.
At that point, I mean, it's such a final, and there's no going back at that point. Do you remember what you were first?
Oh, sorry. The Sue wants some more mic power.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it still?
Am I loud enough, Sue?
I think I'm full bore on the mic. I don't know. Can we do it in here? Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good. I can hear you okay.
Oh, is there a volume?
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe you're hitting the volume.
Is that volume?
Yeah.
That's a little too loud. Or you can just lean back a little bit.
How's this? Oh, maybe I'm hitting the volume.
You're great. You're great.
Okay. I'm golden now. Holy smoke. Anyway, I'm sorry, Marty. You were saying.
Yeah. So you're in the hospital bed and you've just woken up from the surgery. Yeah. And, the process to get there it wasn't on a whim, surely.
No.
Or was it? Okay.
No.
Did you feel, could you tell that your balls were gone physiologically?
Probably. What a fucking question. My balls were gone. I was ballless. No, I was thrilled. I was happy it done. The surgeon came in, said it went smooth. Everything's great. And of course, everything down, I have a catheter in. I'm all packaged up. One of the greatest thing about that surgery is I went to a gynecologist a couple of years after the surgery. And so, just for a general examination. And so he went looking at my nether regions and he said, "I want you to know," he says, "your surgeon was extremely, extremely skilled." Like he, and this guy spends his career looking up, the ladies' nether regions.
Yeah.
And he's looking at mine, and he said, "If I didn't do what I do, I would never know. I would never know." Absolutely brilliant surgery.
Well,
The technology of
that's
what
got
they're
to be reassuring that you had an
yeah,
artist
you
on
want
it.
you if you're going to do something, you want it to be a
Yeah.
good job. You know, if I really want to, put on the girl stuff, I can go away. I knew I was doing okay when little girls didn't look at me anymore. Little girls knew right away something was weird off because little kids need to know if they're looking at a male, a female,
Mm.
whatever. And if you don't fit that, they get very curious right away. And once I got to the point where I was walking around, little girls didn't look twice at me. I knew they were the gold standard. So if you're ever thinking of doing this, transgender people, uh, one of the things you do is do the little girl litmus test. If you can pass an 8-year-old girl, you're good to go. You're good to go.
Did you
So
did you ever wear dresses?
not too much. I never
Yeah.
really did. I'm not really no. I never did. My legs weren't that good, quite frankly, Marty. I think if my legs cut it, I think I would do. I wore girly tops,
Yeah.
and I wear slacks. I'm comfortable in slacks. Really, Marty, for me, being a transsexual, going for the sex change operation, for people like me, once that operation was there, I was good to go. And now I'm on cruise control. So now, in hindsight, at the time, the urgency of doing all what I did, I think the tackle and berries, I don't miss them, and I don't not miss them. It's a non-issue for me, non-issue for me. What's important to me is I'm psychologically at peace, at rest. And the Bible says some are made eunuchs for the gospel's sake. And essentially, to all intents and purposes, I'm a eunuch. That's all that it would mean in that sense.
What do you think about like what is it? It's in
Because I don't do the gender game. Like when I do my show, how you fuckers doing? Hey, how are you? I'm not ladylike out there.
Yeah.
I'm just doing.
Yeah, like you had said I think in the documentary, they see you as Rachel.
Yeah, mostly. I think that kind of comes across.
What about there's some scripture that kind of people could use to contradict, like I think in Deuteronomy 22 or something, like, men shall be men and women shall be women, and neither one you shouldn't
makes sense.
You shouldn't dress either other,
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I agree with that. Because it's confusion, where confusion is every evil word.
So but you're a man dressing as pretending to be a woman.
No, no, I don't dress as a woman. So my top's the guy's club. I got a buy.
Oh, so you think that's just related to the garments that you wear?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Like the actual, but wearing getting breast implants and the sex change, that's all sin too. That's confusion as well. I confess to sin. But Marty, like you say, what am I going to do? Go attach a dildo and walk around? Hey, Rach, you got a hard on today.
No. Okay. So you think your sex change was a sinful act?
Yeah, I consider it sin. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
but I do so, and I do so without guilt. And the reason I'm guilt free is because I recognize that I have a Savior whose blood covers me, and if I confess my sin, He is faithful and just to forgive me my sin. And so I confess. I go, yeah, I was wrong, dead wrong. You're right. But God, I was fucked up. I had psychological problems. I go, yes, Rachel, David, whatever And of course, when you get to heaven, you get a new name. I have a new name that no man knows but He Himself. So even that's taken care of in the hereafter. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So you believe in original sin. So this is just a product of your human nature, the way.
Yeah. Color me surprised that I would fuck up. And I was adopted. My dad had that level of masculinity. I really think that's a huge part in the psychology, my personal psychology. And everybody's so uniquely individual that the very same elements and variables could be put on somebody else, and you would have a manifestly different outcome. So, it's just part and parcel of who I am.
So
my error, my sin.
Yeah. So if
I own it.
Using your kind of stance or your argument there, and if I'm correct, you think homosexuality is a sin.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. But if somebody has married, same-sex married, under your guidelines, they can continue to do that as long as they have the forgiveness of God.
They can do that as long as God is talking to them. And whatever God says, do ultimately, or you're still in a state of sin. You're still in a state of sin, but admit it, you're in sin. I love Jerry too much to leave him. I love him, God. I'm a gay guy. I can't leave Jerry, for example, right?
So
So
you're
as long
still
as
in a
you're
state of sin with
confessing it,
your.
yeah, that's for God to work out between. That's none of my business. That's between them and their God.
Well, you would probably vote against legalizing homosexual marriage, right? So you are taking part in
Well, here's my
your
argument
religious
about
judgment of them.
no, I have no judgment. My I make a righteous judgment. I have no horse in the race. That's between them and their God. I still love the person. I like them. I like them. I have a lot of gay friends that are in gay relationships. I helped what was I doing? Yeah, gay marriage. Who was that? Val and Robin. Yeah. Yeah, I think we stood up for them while they were getting married. And that marriage didn't last. A lot of lesbian marriages don't last. Interesting. They have a high fatality rate because both women remember everything that the other one.
I've
But
heard that,
anyway,
yeah.
so no, I bear no judgment. See, here's the problem with evangelical religion, my religion that I still ascribe to, is we have a great habit of fetishizing things. So this becomes the issue. This becomes the issue. They politicize it. It becomes a big deal. There's all sorts of sin. It's just another sin in a long line of sinning that's occurring. Lusting after Barbara next door is just as bad as copulating with Fred when you're John. It's on the same line. Your sin is, my shit don't stink. My sin's better than your sin. Like you watch in the evangelical or in the conservative circles, and you go, they're finally getting rid of the T in the LGBTQ plus, and like you have gay conservative voices, saying stuff like this. And I'm like, like your shit doesn't stink. You're still, buggering the hell out of each other. But, I'm the sinner over here in the tranny camp. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everybody, we're all guilty. We're all guilty under God. Confess your sin, recognize your sin, and pray to God that he delivers you from it.
Now,
because be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever man sows,
yeah,
that also shall you reap. There's no getting around that. For
so
me or anybody else.
Your religious faith dictates a lot of your political opinions and stuff like that too. So if you would say vote to take away the right of for people to be same-sex married, how do you justify allowing them to be forgiven but yet take that away from them, taking part in your own, taking your own part in doing that as opposed to just letting them live their lives?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not political on that aspect. I have no real opinion about that, but I guess I do. Here's my opinion about it. Here's what I say. I say with gay marriage, first of all, why do you want to get married? And who are you marrying in front of? And what's the idea? Do you want a civil marriage and to be recognized that you're a couple in our culture? That's easy done. Done. You're done. You got it. It's yours. I have no problem with that. My only issue is when you stand before the God of the Bible, so say, and then you proclaim that. That to me is apostasy. The meme goes out on social media where you see you come into a church, there's gay flags all over it. What do you do? And I go, what? Give me one word that explains that. And I go, yeah, apostasy. See, I'm transgender. I'm a transsexual by fact, but I don't legitimize it. I don't speak in favor of it. I'm not. You don't see little gay rainbow things decorating my room behind me here as part of my branding as Rachel's ghost. There's none of it. And so go get married. I say that. But if you think you're getting married with God giving his stamp of approval on it, you're in error. You're in error. You're in scriptural error. And there's no getting around it.
So, but there's so many other things in the Bible that we don't abide by.
Like what?
Wearing mixed fabrics or.
Well, that's within the context of the Old Testament. In the New Testament, Jesus said, "Don't think I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. I haven't come to destroy or got rid of any of it. I've come to fulfill it all." You could never be made whole by the blood of bullocks and goats. But the perfect sacrifice of Jesus Christ is, in fact, the culmination. The imperfect was superseded by the perfect. Those things were merely shadows and representations of that which is. And when you look at the Old Testament injunctions in terms of rituals of eating this, that, or the other thing, this is holy. And when I saw Peter carried away with the circumcision because he wouldn't eat with the Gentiles, I rebuked him. I withstood him to the face, for he was to be blamed. That's Paul in the book of Acts. So, I mean, there's no contradiction in my mind about this thing. Nature itself will tell you in the book of Romans, receiving the recompense of their reward in their flesh. Go figure that one out. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
And that's not me saying it. I didn't fucking write it. I just back it up. I go, I believe that. Yeah, okay, that makes sense to me.
So if a young boy is, born
Fabulous.
and if he's fabulous and he's not attracted to women and he doesn't, it's totally, because I believe that homosexuality can be both a choice and genetic. People
sure. I think so
too.
I think, there's studies that back that up from your perspective. One of the things is generally in a family, it's the youngest son. If you're going to have a gay guy out of a bunch of brothers, it's usually the youngest brother is the gay guy. That's been a number of studies have shown.
So did God just make a mistake on that creation?
No, of course not. Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. You know better than that. Your theology is
I know, but I'm asking the question because I want you to. Yeah.
Sorry, Your Honor. Yeah, there's spiritual reality behind it all. But no, of course, obviously, God didn't make a mistake. But the point is that the human race is a fallen race. So I fall back on the fallen race, the fall of mankind, original sin. We're all sinners. All we like sheep have gone astray. Just don't fetishize it and make fabulous Raymond's sin any greater than your own, hypocrite.
Yeah.
That's my attitude. Have a good time all the time. That's my philosophy, Marty.
Why is God hidden?
Why is God hidden? That's that's really interesting. I think the idea is that we would come to him. Why do I speak in parables? Jesus come. Why don't you speak to us plainly? Why do you speak to us in parables? Tell us plainly, because the heart of man is unbelievable. We preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to the Jews, for they seek after a sign, and none shall be given it, save the sign of Jonah in the belly of the whale. And we're an offense to the Gentiles because you seek wisdom. And we preach Christ crucified, and it's foolishness too.
Yeah, what is with the sanctimony of this and when I look at the Bible, I don't see any wisdom inside of it that can't be found in another wise book.
Well, again, there's two trees in the garden. So you got the knowledge of good and evil, which is found in every wise book and in every religion. They all agree with one another. That's the knowledge of good and evil. What you lack, what they lack, what everyone lacks, what nobody can do but Christ is I'm the tree of life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And the life is the God-given life of God. That's the other tree in the garden that the angel forbade man to touch. But we got knowledge of good and evil in spades. We know a lot. We're knowing more all the time. Knowledge is increasing daily.
Why doesn't that play out universally, though? Why are most people that will ever exist on the earth not going to choose your particular God? Why is it that your God happened to reveal himself to a Bronze Age tribe 2,000 years ago, and that it just so happens that the Romans got a hold of it and they spread it around, and then the Puritans came, and here we are today. But that most of the earth will never know who your God is. Why is it that your God is the only God?
I will say this: that God is a spirit, and they that worship Him in spirit and truth. So, people used to ask me, set up this kind of thing. Well, what about the guy in Africa? In fact, I said the same thing. I rejected Christianity de facto because of stained glass windows and wooden pews, which I knew were European historic artifacts and had nothing to do with somebody walking the plains of the Serengeti, or somebody over, in China or any other part of the world that's outside of the Western European ethos and historic process? And the answer that I have is that there's no way to tell unless you do a manifestation. And if I meet that individual that has, say, Makumbo, has a spiritual encounter out in the middle of the African jungle, and I meet Makumbo, and I go, Makumbo goes, I had spirit come big, and I go, that's great, Makumbo. I'd like to tell you about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And if Makumbo goes, that's my guy, that's who I met, you call it that, but this is my Makumbo. Makumbo. I go, okay. He's translating that Makumbo is in fact saying that your God is his God, but he came manifested. But if he goes, no, the manifestation is different. What I'm trying to say here in this allegory is that you need to have a manifestation. Sue's got a great scripture we're going to see right now with Bible Moment. This is Romans 1:20. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. In other words, the creation testifies to a creator. And if you're pure in heart, blessed are the pure in heart, they will see God. And so all the chips fall into place, Marty. So, that hypothetical I presented is kind of like you need that in order for it to be manifest. Otherwise, you don't know. But you can, it's up to God to decide, the sheep, the goats. But I don't rule out that somebody without knowledge, because we're accountable for what we know, not what we don't know, that individual is going to be fine. It's all a matter of the pureness of heart and attitude and spirit. There's still truth. There's still error.
Okay, so if my heart, at least my heart, I think I'm pure, and I've searched my whole life, but I don't conclude that your God is the God. Am I damned to separation?
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so myself. Here's why: because God judges the heart, first of all. So God judges, not me. So it's not my position to say you're judged or by God or not. The end result, also scripturally, is not so much that we know God, but rather that we are known of God. So it's not what I say about God that matters at the end of the day. Even my testimony here, it's not about me. It's about God's opinion, not my opinion. That matters, and that's fundamental, critical to the equation. And so for your own well-being, every man see within yourself whether you be of the faith or not. That onus is upon you to check out. It won't, when you stand before God, I won't be with you. Jesus may be with you, but I certainly will not be with you. I'll be cheering for you from the sidelines. That's Marty. Let him in. He's good. I like him. Let Marty in. But ultimately, I'm not there for that.
Yeah. Okay. Before this morning, I just thought I would go on. I know you love Grok and AI, and it's fun. So I went on AI this morning, and I typed in who's this Rachel's ghost, and if I'm going to talk to her, what do I talk to her about? So I'll just go down this little list. I think it's kind of funny.
Well, do you want me to answer some of these Grok questions?
I think we've covered a lot of it. And if you want to interject, you can. I just thought it was kind of interesting how what it knows about you. Based on my research into the Rachel Williams and her YouTube channel, Rachel's Ghost, here's a list of interview questions tailored to her unique background as a central figure in the online vinyl community and her recent return to the platform. The origins of the quote-unquote TV show you refer to, daily broadcast simply as the TV show, what inspired the format of these long-term live streams, and how has that format helped you build such a loyal audience? The role of music. You are known for your deep love of the Beatles and classic rock. How has collecting vinyl served as a bridge for connecting the people of different backgrounds and political views? Community leadership. You have been called the quote-unquote queen of the vinyl community. How do you view your role facilitating discussions among collectors, and what do you think makes the specific niche on YouTube so tight-knit? So then it goes into your personal philosophy and identity. The beautifully complex identity. In past interviews, you've described yourself as a mix of transcendent Christian metaphysic political conservative, and post-operative trans woman of color. How do
Yeah.
these seemingly different identities inform the way you interact with your viewers?
Isn't that beautiful? Just that
Isn't
thing,
that
but
wild?
I just love that.
Isn't that
I just
wild?
fucking
I
love
mean, this is the internet that went. I told it to look at to go through all of your YouTube shows, so it went through your shows, I guess. You've often discussed the likability factor in entertaining and the challenges of being a public figure. How do you feel with troll politics or negativity while maintaining a daily broadcast schedule?
Yeah.
Spirituality and metaphysics. Can you elaborate on how your interest in metaphysics and genealogy influences your worldview and the topics you choose to discuss on your channel? And then it talks about your hiatus, the sudden departure. Your original channel was deactivated somewhat abruptly in early 2025, leading to much speculation. What can you share about the decision to step away and the impact that break had on you? I think you've covered that quite a bit. Then it says the launch of Rachel's Ghost 2. And then it talks a little bit about your documentary. But I just thought, man, that's
Pretty good.
Here we go. The Gaming Legacy. You authored the book Warbirds, the story so far about a virtual gaming community. How does the experience of chronicling a gaming community compare to hosting a music-focused one?
Yeah, the handbook that I did write that book. So can you grab that for us? We'll show it as a prop on the show. So I co-wrote this book with people in different parts of the world. It truly is a global presentation over a book game based in the United States of America, out of Grapevine, Texas, as it turns out. And but the principles of social dynamics that occurred within here, there is, if you go in that shelf over there, an English gaming magazine said that it is essentially, this book here is essentially a handbook to building an online virtual community. So, and the book itself, it's one of the magazines. I hope we got enough time for it. Okay, let it go. We'll let it go. What's interesting about the magazine, it's got a picture of Lenin on the cover holding the sickle, the communist sickle. And it's fantastic. But the author of that review, who reviewed this book in that gaming magazine, said it is essentially in essence, it's a handbook to creating an online virtual community, a handbook on how to do it. And all the outliers, the idiosyncratic nature of individuals, that's all in the vinyl community as it is here, because we're all humans with all our foibles. It all comes into the mix.
Yeah. And speaking of the VC, I want to, as you know, I'm on a Discord with it. There's a handful of us there that Sue was on for a while, and we all miss Sue absolutely. And
Loki's Discord, right?
Yeah, he's on there as well as
is it his Discord or who? It's Loki.
No, it's called Nanaimo Junction.
Yeah, that's Loki's Discord. Oh, Loki created
it. I think but he's not. I'm a moderator on there, and there's a I don't know, there's like 25 of us or whatever, but mostly about 10 or 12 of us. That Rochelle's on there and stuff like. Anyway, there is I was asked to talk about the move or the transition away from what they thought the show should be, or how they thought things, like the good old days, and why it's not imperative for you to maintain that same energy or that same format, so to speak. And from my point of view, I see all this as we're just kind of evolving along the way, and we just do what feels good to us. And I'm good. I'm happy with that. But I do also see I haven't been around as long as a lot of these guys, and it was different a year and a half ago than it is now. And I'm nostalgic for that, but I also look at, like, how can we expect to have the Rachel, how can we expect to have you not evolve along the way as well.
Well, I mean, I find this fascinating because from my perspective, I haven't changed really at all. My perspective is that Trump won an election and liberals couldn't handle it. It's as simple as that to me. That's honestly how I see it. Because I still do the same humor. Everybody's welcome to come up. What do you guys want to talk about today? But I never back down. If somebody goes out, oh, Trump, we got him in a hot tub. Oh, sorry, that's Bill Clinton. But anyway, this whatever they want to play at, I'll counterpunch every time. You want no politics, just don't bring it up. I won't bring it up. I'm happy not to. I created a separate channel where to funnel all that energy into.
I think you are right about the politics putting a kink in kind of it a little bit, and not that you shouldn't have the right to have your own feelings and express them how you choose, but that probably did create, because the majority of your BC family here does not align with you politically. I mean, there are certainly lots that do, but over half of them would probably disagree with you politically, and that probably does.
We actually did. We took a poll on that one day, and it was a 50-50 break.
Was it?
Yeah. It was really strange. It surprised me because I thought what you thought. What you just said. I figured we'd get like an 80-20, maybe an 85-15 breakdown on how it was going to go, but it turns out it was like 50-50.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I do see that playing into some of the direction that the show has gone over the past year, and
I think the other variable in that, Marty, sorry to interrupt, but the other variable is not just the politics, but I've dropped the guns on some of the negative voices. So Spring Hill Jim has a voice. We had Psycho Platters up, and Psycho's not a troll in any way, but Psycho was coming into the show, and Loki, I know, was very vocal, saying, why is this guy on? I don't want him. And then we reconciled with Beetle Babe, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. I think she's been a real drop of fresh air, fresh blood into the mix. She's a very important part of the Friday Patreon show we do. And so she's been nothing short of fresh air and renewed life. And isn't it wonderful to, if there's trouble or if there's been unsettled, to reconcile, to get along with people? Isn't that what we ultimately want at the end of the day? And so I don't want to be fighting with rice fields. I don't want, and I like calling them rice paddies because it's funny. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to change that way. I want him to bend to my thing. I think it's funny. It's rice paddies. Rice paddies is, there's no disrespect meant in it. It's funny. Stick with rice paddies. Rebrand. In fact, I recommend a rebrand. And do that. And you're welcome to come on my show. And I will talk to you. And we'll hang out. And that goes for anybody, because at the end of the day, we all like our music. Some of us, have our wheels within wheels. Well, I love my Beatles. And you want it to be entertaining. Above all, you want it to be entertaining. You want to have a laugh. But in all honesty, Marty, there's a lot of people on the liberal side of the aisle that aren't really looking for a lot of laugh. They aren't finding a lot to laugh about in their world right now. Whereas me and people on my side of the aisle, we're laughing every day. Every day brings new, exciting news. Way to go, Georgia. Keep up the good work. We're keeping our eye on you. By
what happened in Georgia?
Well, the Georgia state came out and said, we didn't really do due process. So we found 350,000 votes that we didn't really go through proper procedure with on that. But it's okay. We did a recount. There's nothing to see here. Trump's government and the Department of Justice are suing to get that out. Trump won that. I mean, Biden won Georgia by 17,000 votes. So now this is coming out. We just won another case where the state of Georgia put a lockdown. They didn't want to release those election files, but that failed. We're going to get them. So very excited about that happening. And of course, Somalia, Tim Walz, all the trouble with the welfare phoniness that's going on. It's up to $18 billion have suddenly gone missing. We don't know where it went. It's just gone. So we're going to find out where the 18 bill went. And so there's accountability. So like I say, each day, news items like this are just perking me right up, Marty.
Yeah. Okay. you know, one thing that because I love you and
I love you
I,
too.
I really do. And I respect your opinions and your
Firebrand
intellect
approach.
and whatever. Yeah. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. But, you know, I look at Trump and I see who he is. And then I know that you know that I know. And you know that I know that you know. Can you follow me there?
You know that you know that I know that
Yeah,
you know.
I know. I mean, we can say that ad infinitum, but like from where I'm looking at, I see that you're looking at me and you can tell that I know that you know the truth about Donald Trump and you know what kind of character he is
Well,
and
I
what kind of
don't.
character he has.
I
But
don't.
see,
I can only go by what the practical outpouring of it. So he put 1776 dollars and over a million a quarter service people, men and women, a pocketbook. That I think that's a nice thing. I
you
think
know,
that
he took that out of the housing. It's money that was already going to the military, and he took that out of their housing. It's not from the tariffs.
okay, well, he's saying it's from the tariffs. So
Yeah,
you're
it's
going to have
not.
to find the paper trail and show me the paper trail,
Yeah.
and then I'll go, oh, okay, I
But
can
we
see
can,
it.
you know, we can digress into.
No, I just want to know, like, just show me the document. I go, well, you
Yeah.
got to prove it right there. And then I'll post it on X. I go, listen, Republicans, get it together. Because if it's the truth, Marty, I can do nothing against the truth but for the truth. If you're right
Yeah.
about that, just get me the document and then I'll go, oh, yeah, it's all here. I can see where it happened.
Yeah. But I'm looking at more of his, not necessarily his policies, and I'm looking at his character as a human being, as a
Well,
man.
like, what do we know? You hang out with the guy. How much do you know about this guy? What
No,
did he
but
do Friday?
yeah, I look at how he's treated women over the years, and that really
How's he
bothers
treated
me.
women?
Well, I mean, I don't want to. Here's the deal. What I'm saying is, like,
I don't know anything about him treating women. I know he's not in a hot tub on Epstein's Island with one.
I'm not going to defend Bill Clinton. If Bill Clinton did bad things,
what? Bill Clinton? What? Who mentioned Clinton?
You did just a little bit ago.
No, I do. Yeah, a little bit.
If Bill Clinton did bad things, then he should be held accountable. Absolutely. I'm not one to say that, to just root for my team and not go after whoever else, because I don't see myself on a team. But I know that we can all see, and this is why I'm baffled sometimes, because like to me it almost seems like you have this willful ignorance, or you've had these blinders on about what kind of character he is. I think that character matters for a leader.
I don't think you know his character. I don't think you in Oregon can look in on
really?
DC or New York and tell me about some guy who you don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know him.
This is my opinion.
Yeah.
So this is my take, and I glean information from his past and what other people have accused him of doing.
But the only way you know about his past is through who? MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, all these broadcasters. What newspapers? What did Donald come over to your house saying, oh, by the way, here's what I've been up to? All I know about him is what I see on TV. Well, whoever's broadcasting it, that's the only way, or anything in a written paper, the Washington Post, the New York Times. How else are we going to find information about, quote, a celebrity unless it's by some sort of media?
Well, we can go by what he said too. We know that he cheated on all three of his wives. He paid off.
I cheated on my wife.
Okay, well,
we just established that earlier today. Okay, so am I holier than Donald? The Donald?
No, but you don't necessarily have a track record of doing that, right?
Apparently, I do.
Over 26 women have.
I told you I couldn't get laid. I told you that's part of my story. I was trying to get laid. I'd have 26 complaining too. And keep in mind, the guy's a huge political figure. Who the hell wouldn't want to come out of the woodwork if you hate him like Harry? If Harry had a vagina, he'd be front center claiming Trump had touched him in the locker room. And Trump, a guy, he got me. He would make Jean Carroll look like a sane woman. That's how effective Harry could be if he had a vagina. Harry, consider sex change. Consider it.
So
might be a claim against Trump for you.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk for 10 minutes straight about the sexual deviancies and the different things that he's been accused of, and stuff that he said himself, like he considered VD his own personal Vietnam, and then he
Well, that's
joked.
funny. That's funny to me.
Okay,
That's not
yeah,
a character. That's funny. You know me. Look at the
yeah. I'm
shit
not
I
saying
say
I'm not
about
saying
women.
he's not funny. He
Yeah.
talked about, he owned pageants, and he talked about being able to go into the Miss Teen USA dressing room and be able to see the girls naked, and that it was his right to do that because
Well,
he was the owner of the.
Miss Teen USA, it would not be his right. That would be a problem.
Well, he's talked about that. He's talked about.
I could see Miss Universe, but Miss Teen USA, I
It's
think
not
that
even
would
Miss
be a
Universe. You
no-no.
don't have the right to go in and ogle naked women, even if
Well,
you
no,
own
but
the
not to
pageant.
ogle. But if you're passing through because the room's there and you're bringing them from one room to the other, it happens.
Don't make
Marty,
excuses for that.
you got a record coming out. You ever been on the road? Have you ever been on the road with a band and the fucking strippers that were up in a band room? I've had strippers masturbating while we're trying to watch a movie. I said, please whisper. We're trying to watch a movie here. Pleasure yourself after. You're not working the stage right now, for the love of God. So there's all sorts of shit goes down. None of that's on my radar. In fact, to me, it sounds more like a holier than thou. Oh, that's horrible that, so-and-so's got a raging hard on, for, name your starlet.
I don't have any problem with him being a sexual person or anybody else for being a sexual person, but when it crosses the line of taking advantage or assaulting or saying certain things that degrade women, then I have a real problem with that. And I don't. And here's the deal: is like, it's so clear to most people who aren't entrenched in supporting him who he is as a person. Like, that's what I was saying, is like, I know that that I know that
you believe this. I know that you believe it. I don't believe it. Well, because my philosophy is I don't know Trump personally, right? I don't know the guy. And all I know about him is what's reported in the papers. He's funny to me. When I see him himself, I laugh. He's funny. And he seems to love America. And somebody tried to shoot him dead. And they tried to put Russian scandal on him to fuck him over. They indicted him 37 times for some fucking reason. There's this, that, and everything fucking else. And a lot of shit that he said seems to be coming true. So I don't give a fuck if he's sitting around and he's got, when my hard-on's there, I'm a good 4 inches longer than Barack Obama at his best. That's not on my radar. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I don't care. It means nothing to me.
I don't care if he wants. I don't care if he wants to brag about his hard-on, but I care. I do care if he's treated women like he shouldn't, and
I don't think he's treated women poorly at all in any way, shape, or form.
But see, that's just your opinion. Just like you said, it's my opinion that he has.
It's just my opinion because if they had anything, they'd show it, and they got nothing except Eugene Carroll, who was in a rigged fucking New York bullshit session, and I disavow her completely. I don't believe her. Just like I don't believe the two bitches that Biden gave medals to in Georgia that they went and tried to bankrupt Rudy Giuliani over. Only Fulton County is all coming down. It's all being revealed now. So hang on to your hats, fucking liberals, because pain is coming in about a year from now. I would say within 2026 going to be fucking Revelation Boulevard.
Well, I'm okay with policy differences and the way that people think that the country ought to be run. I just have a real problem with the character of the man, and that doesn't mean that the other side doesn't have that.
Whatever you know, I mean, you seem to know stuff I don't know. Grab him by the pussy is sexual assault by law. You know what? I would fucking grab you by the pussy, David. If you got one, you're a tall drink of water. I love you. You're a sexy man. Now, is that assault? Did I just fucking assault you? No, I'm just talking in conversation. And you fucking idiots that are running around and you got some guy talking and that whole grab him by the pussy bullshit, put your fucking pink hat on, get a million of you, do your march on Washington. What a waste of time that was. And then the whole thing is, it was a private conversation one guy had it with another in a locker room. It wasn't like, and here's the State of the Union address. Hi, America, I want to grab you by the pussy. That's my official position. And there was none of that. It was just a casual thing. The shit, if you wanted to nail me the stuff I'd say in private, I'd fuck her. You know, holy shit. Come on.
You should
Like your prudes.
you should look at the Katie Johnson affidavit. If you just Google that, and it'll come up. It's the
Oh,
it's
who's affidavit?
so Katie Johnson is a pseudonym of a girl that was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, and she talks about being raped by Donald Trump.
I disavow all of that. That is a hit job. That's the conspiracy theory that Trump said. That guy's clean. You fuckers got nothing on him.
It's not
we got tons on you Democrats and some Republicans, because they ain't clean either. It's a uniparty. We're against that too.
Yeah. This was a legitimate affidavit in a lawsuit filed in like 2015 or 16, and then right before the election, it went away. And this girl who Tara Palmieri has actually talked to has remained pretty much in hiding in California because there's some reason she's either afraid of it.
You could take Trump down with that. You don't need Russian prostitutes to lie about that. You don't need to lie about Russia. You don't need to shoot him. You don't need to go out and indict him 37 times. Just get this chick out with her story front page and nail Trump to the cross and fucking bury the cunt. But if you can't do that, then shut up or fucking show up. That's the ghost's opinion.
This is where, Rachel, I think that your boy brain, this is just my opinion, and how I find it hard to identify with the trauma that a woman goes through after she's been sexually assaulted. And that a lot of people would think, well, why didn't she just go to the police? And when you break down the psychology of victims and why they don't go report the assault or the crime or the rape that's happened to them, there's a very good explanation as to why people don't do that.
Yeah, I've got a sociology degree, so I know how all that works. What I tell you also works is, here's $1 million. We're going to protect you. You go in there, take this fucker down, and you got all the power of the DNC behind you. But that's okay, Democrats, because you're sitting at an 18% approval rating right now. You are absolutely in trouble, and it's only getting worse as each passing day has me and my fellow conservatives smiling broader and more brightly. God bless Donald Trump. God bless America. Marty, you said no holds barred. All questions are on the table. I think we've had a hell of an interview.
I'm glad you're being you, and I wouldn't want you any other way.
I love you too, and I'm happy.
Sincerely, Rachel, I thank you, and I count you a close friend of mine. And
yes, and that's because you are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to. We're coming up on 2 hours, and so I think we've dragged people through this.
Yeah, but this is good.
If you're okay, I mean, I don't want to shut you down at all or anything, but I don't want to keep you on longer than what you're comfortable doing. But
I'm totally comfy.
All right.
I wanted to give you, the good show, give you the best I can deliver.
Yeah. Well,
take your time.
I don't know how to really transition away from what we were at. Let's give me 3 of your top 10 albums of all time.
Yeah.
Right. Now.
3 top Abbey Road, number 1. Led Zeppelin 4, Stairway to Heaven's on it. Every song you can play the whole thing through. Yes, Close to the Edge would be right there. And Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Those are probably 4. I've probably played those albums more than any other album in my collection. And over my life, I've played them more. And even though I never like to say that Abbey Road's my favorite Beatle album, it is the one I've played more than any of the others overall.
Yeah, I had a hard time for a while because I didn't know if it was Rubber Soul or Revolver or Abbey Road. Okay, now you said 4 bands there. Now let's pick the runner-up to, what's the runner-up to Abbey Road?
From the Beatles, or
yes,
just as
from the Beatles?
From the Beatles, the second best. You know what? Strangely enough, it's kind of a hybrid effort. It's Magical Mystery Tour because it's got my favorite song on it.
It is
Strawberry Fields
underrated.
Forever.
Yeah, and
Penny Lane's on there. Roll Up for the Magical Mystery Tour itself. Massey played that start out his gig the other night. So that's a great rockin' tune. Flying, the instrumental piece is on there as well. Baby, You're a Rich Man, great song. Fool in the Hill, I've never really been the biggest fan. Your Mother Should Know, I prefer more,
I
even though
love Your
that
Mother
would
Should
be,
Know.
yeah, that would be like Paul McCartney granny music that the others would accuse him of.
Yeah.
But, that would be there. So Magical Mystery gets it. And then after Magical Mystery Tour, I would go with the White Album, 2 albums. And if you ask me which one do you take to a desert island, not Abbey Road, not Magical Mystery Tour, take the White Album, because you get 2 albums. So
yeah.
Even if it's got Good Night on it to close the thing out, which appeared on the Vinyl Community vinyl tag. The last song on that, sung by Ringo, I've never been a fan because I'm a rocker at heart and I like rock.
Okay, if not Led Zeppelin 4, which Led Zeppelin?
Zeppelin 5, Houses of the Holy.
Really?
Number 2 spot. Yeah, okay. I mean, Over the Hills and Far Away, Dancing Days are on that. Both of those are just kick. So I'm a big fan of that. Then probably I'd go to Zeppelin 1, then Zeppelin 2, then Zeppelin 3, and then I'd go, everything else is a toss-up.
Yeah.
Even Physical Graffiti, double album, but, I'd put that up in Through the Outdoor would be just good. Presence is just good as that.
Okay, how about Closer to the Edge? What's instead of that?
Yes album comes number 2. So it's Close to the Edge, the Yes album. Relayer is interesting. Relayer can kind of come in there from time to time. I do like 90125, which is great. Drama has gained a lot of ground over ensuing years. Going for the One is nice. But it's Close to the Edge, the Yes album, and Fragile. I'll throw Fragile. That would be that order.
Yeah. I think, I first, I had Relayer is the 74 album. And so I've listened to that a lot, but it just doesn't, I do like Fragile and Closer to the Edge, I think, better than that album. Okay. And if not Dark Side of the Moon, what Floyd album?
Okay. So Floyd is, you wanted me to give my top 3 Floyders?
Sure.
So Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here. Oh man, I want to say The Wall, but we could go earlier. Saucer Full of Secrets is good. Metal is a great album. All of their, Ummagumma. You can't go wrong with Floyd. Floyd's another. I've got them all.
Yeah.
So I would go definitely Dark Side holds the number 1. Wish You Were Here definitely holds the number 2 position, and just for consistency of that period. Also, Animals is so good too.
Yeah.
So I'll put Animals in the number 3, just edging out The Wall, even though it's got Teacher, leave those kids alone, and Comfortably Numb. How great is that?
Yeah, so good. What do you have a favorite John Lennon album?
Yeah, Mind Games is my favorite. It's the most approachable of the Lennon albums he wrote for himself and Yoko, just like the little hippie shows up in the Imagine movie. Are you hungry? And I like this that you did. Oh, that's a Paul song. That whole exchange. He goes, well, I write, he goes, yeah, I think you were writing to me and talking to me. He goes, John goes, well, actually, and he's got his hand. He goes, I'm just writing for me and Yoko, now if you get something out of it, so much the better. That's great. It's just about me and Yoko, So that John's just telling you right there where his head's at. If you like my music, you like it. This is my attitude, my show. You like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't care, really. I'm going to keep doing what I do. And some people will like it and some people won't. And I don't care at the end of the day. I'll just do it for me and Yoko, if Yoko's watching for me. So, so that's John. That's how he writes. But Mind Games is one of, even that still got, Yoko is, he can't get away from it. But it's an accessible album. And the profundity in the song Mind Games as well takes something from a cliche and makes it profound and insightful. So I loved Lennon. Lennon's my guy. And again, the Beatle that I most closely identify with.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a few to show you here.
Okay.
This is basically just for you and me. So a few people might get this, but I picked this up.
Ago. Okay. So tell the kids, everybody out, what's going on.
This is Sweet Comfort Band.
Sweet Comfort Band, Christian music.
Yeah.
This is something Marty and I have in common.
This is from '84. So on Light, this is Brian Duncan being the lead singer, who I
He's
really
the guy.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
amazing voice.
Duncan the main guy behind the band, or who was the main?
I don't know enough about their bio to
Sweet Comfort Band were actually very big during the 80s
they
period of
were late 70s,
80s was a
early
good time
80s.
for Christian music. There was
It
a lot of
was.
good original music that came out of the period.
Yeah. This is one, I think you mentioned this to me the other day.
Yeah, Shotgun Angel,
Yeah.
Daniel Amos.
When I found
Great
this,
album.
I was tickled because you don't see this anywhere. I mean,
It's a country album. My copy's really
Yeah.
beat up, but you know,
Yeah.
it's worth having. And it's very accessible. That's the thing. These guys, Stephen Schnee will tell you, they went on and they reinvented themselves as like a new wave kind of outfit. So
Okay.
totally different style of music
And that
they came
I'll have
out
to
with.
look out for
But
that.
they're very much within the Eagles kind of school polka. They're within that school of music, kind of
Okay.
country rock. Oh,
Resurrection
that is
Band.
yeah, Kagi, a Resurrection Band on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very similar to Phil Keaggy. Resurrection Band.
Well, speaking of,
Yeah,
there's
there's
Phil. I love this.
Phil Keaggy is highly regarded back in the 80s when they did the top guitars, Rolling Stone magazine, top 200 guitars. Phil Keaggy would frequently show up. Phil Keaggy, Christian guy, but also a massive Beatles fan, and has covered
Yeah.
the Beatles on his own album stuff, and he just loves them.
He kind of crossed over and played, you know, he was well respected, like you said, in the secular world.
Well, he
And,
came out of there, right? He had a
yeah.
band called Glass Harp in Cincinnati. That thing, they already had Ohio clout. They were well known in the state, and then they broke out and became even bigger.
I saw him when I was about 15 at in Eugene at the University of Ducks MacArthur Court, just by himself with an acoustic guitar in the center of the court.
Does he live in Oregon these days?
No, I don't think so. He's in his got to be in his 70s now.
He's going to be pushing 80.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, this is the thing. I'm turning 68 in February. So if I'm getting that old, just imagine all the rockers that I admired and loved.
Yeah. He played on one of my favorite albums from '74 by a guy named Joe Vitale, who was a friend of who was a drummer for Joe Walsh for like 30 years and played with the Eagles and all this. But Joe Vitale put out an album in '74 called Roller Coaster Weekend that Phil Keaggy played on, and it's super
sublime.
Good. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so many great talent out there. I went to like a thing called Jesus Fair, which was like this Christian thing in '78. I went in '78, and it was really good. I mean, on an entertainment, but Chuck Girard was there. He was with the Hondells, and so Little Honda, he did Little Honda. Holy crap, was that good. And B.J. Thomas was there because he had swept over, started doing gospel songs. And Debbie Boone was there, and she sang "You Light Up My Life," which was cringe city, because, you know, "You light up my life, Lord," you know, and it's like, oh, come on, give me a break. You know, it's a love song.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't mean it that way when you got it in your little hands, Debbie.
Yeah.
You know, but it was good. It was a lot of fun to see some name bands up there, and it was quite the experience, a cultural thing. And it was in Tacoma where I saw it. So it was being a Canadian in around American evangelicalism with the big name talent there. It was a lot of fun, right? It was a revelation of sorts too. But I fit right in. Yeah.
Was there a time when you only felt like you could listen to Christian music like you did?
Yeah. I made a willful decision. Like, I wanted to turn my way on the back. I wanted to repent. I wanted to be all I could be, like the Marines, right? Or the Army.
Yeah.
Be all you can be. And so I turned my back on my beloved Beatles. I had to say, because they occupied the place that God occupied for me. They're you know, I worshiped the Beatles. They were everything to me, because, you know, I'm a disaffected teenager, you know, with thoughts, and the Beatles were a big comfort for me.
Do you remember going back to them and feeling like it was okay to go back to the Beatles?
Yeah, I got licensed to get a lot back, which I gave, because the curse had been broken. They were no longer that thing anymore. They weren't idols anymore. They're just John, Paul, George, and Ringo. You know. So, and it's interesting because I never was step in step politically with them, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, youth. Anybody under 30, we were all liberal on some level, kind of, you know, like we nothing offended us. We were all like, yeah, let's do this. This is good. How do we help the poor people? Okay, I'm into that. Let's do it, like my little Snoopy club, we're all trying to make the world a better place.
Mhm.
And the Beatles with their message of love and hope, so, why not? What's not to love? You got to get with the Beatles, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And, they killed my favorite Beatle bastards,
Yeah.
So
Well, I think this is a great, I gotta pee like a,
You gotta go pee.
I gotta go pee like a racehorse.
You have a lot of poo-poo pee-pee problems on vinyl communities.
I've had like 4 cups of coffee this morning.
All right. Thanks, Vinyl Community. I want to thank Marty, and thanks for putting up with me.
Rachel, thank you so much. I've been waiting and wanting to do this. Oh, she's gone. Okay. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for coming and hanging out here. I really appreciate it, and I care about you deeply, you and Sue, and we'll keep in touch. And thank you all, 53 of you here. That's pretty great. I really appreciate you. It's
been so long since I worked StreamYard. I hit the wrong button. I just went the hell out. Sorry, Marty. I just want to say thanks for having me.
No, yeah. Thank you so much, Rachel, and have a wonderful. Let's see. You're going to do your show on Tuesday, so we'll run into each other, and you're going to do a Friday after Christmas.
Yeah, we're always
okay.
Doing Friday.
Yeah, I have that. I took the day off after Christmas off too, so it's been really slow here, and.
Well, I won't keep you. You got to go wash him. Thank you so much for hosting.
All good. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful
Thanks,
day.
audience. Love
Take
you.
care, everybody.
Now it's bye.